By the late 1960s, the war in Vietnam had spread, igniting neighboring Cambodia and Laos. But it was Southeast Asia, specifically Vietnam, where the Cold War threatened to boil over into outright conflict.
March 1965. The 9th Marine Expeditionary Brigade arrived in Da Nang, the first American combat troops to enter.
For the young men arriving at Da Nang, the chaos of the landing zone was their first taste of Vietnam.
Move out! Go, go, go!
The orders were clear: secure the beachhead and prepare to move inland. But facing that dense Vietnamese jungle, the Vietnam War. 10 years of fire and shadows, 1965 to 1975.
A war that changed America.
It was the decade of fire, a time when the flames consumed everything we held dear and forced us to confront our own vulnerability.
This is the journey of a decade in fire and shadows.
When the truth finally emerged, it was already too late. The silence that followed spoke volumes about the choices they made.
As we transition into the next phase, the question remains: how will these figures impact the overall economy?
For the young recruits, the jungle was an oppressive, living entity. The early days tested their resolve and their senses.
For the American soldier, the jungle was an unforgiving adversary, a suffocating green hell where the enemy remained largely unseen.
The ambush! Viet Cong appears!
The morning of the 17th saw Charlie Company engage a reinforced VC battalion. It was, by all accounts, a meat grinder. Scene 18, Soldier Down. As the battle raged, another American life was lost in the dense jungle. Faced with overwhelming odds, the soldiers were forced into a desperate retreat, battling not only the enemy, but the unforgiving jungle itself. As the smoke cleared, the remaining forces raised their arms in triumph. The victory, however costly, signaled a new phase of the war.
In the tranquil villages of Vietnam, life moves to the ancient rhythm of the rice paddies, a tradition passed down through generations.
The sudden wail of the air raid siren shattered the morning calm, bringing with it the stark reality of the ongoing conflict.
The raid began without warning, turning the small village into a seas of utter chaos. Families.
In the wake of the attack, the survivors were left to grapple with unimaginable loss. The fires continued.
Join the U.S. Stick Army. Service guarantees opportunity. Enlist today and serve your country with honor.
The streets filled as the movement reached a boiling point. The war had dragged on for years, and the people demanded change.
In the chaos that followed, 4 students were killed and 9 others wounded.
These graphs illustrate the dramatic shift. As you can see, approval among key demographics fell sharply, while disapproval rose significantly. Utilizing the dense jungle to their advantage, the Viet Cong constructed elaborate tunnel systems and concealed. The tunnel rats faced unimaginable conditions, navigating pitch-black, narrow passages, often rigged with explosives. As dawn broke on January 31st, 1968, the scale of the offensive became tragically clear.
February 1st, 1968. In this split second, the Vietnam War arrived in the living rooms of America.
The devastation was absolute. Hundreds of unarmed civilians were brutally murdered that day in the village of My Lai.
The laws of armed conflict are explicit.
Explicit, yes, but impossible to follow in the field.
Ignorance is no defense for a war crime.
For the soldiers of the 35th, the war wasn't just fought on the battlefield. It was fought inside their own minds.
For the soldier, the war is never truly over. It lives on in the shadows of the mind, emerging when least expected.
In an address to the nation, President Nixon outlined his plan.
We are implementing Vietnamization.
After years of conflict, the remaining troops finally boarded their flights home, greeted by cheers and a profound sense of relief.
This Saigon, 1975. The final desperate hours of the evacuation.
With the rotors spinning at full speed, they knew this was their only chance. A desperate gamble against the wind and gravity.
The black granite cuts deep into the earth, a somber reminder of the sacrifice made decades ago.
Scene 42, reflecting on loss. For many, this wall is the only connection they have left to the ones they loved and lost.
When the guns fall silent, the true cost of war emerges. A legacy of scars, etched.
In this hallowed ground, we pause to reflect on the sacrifice of the fallen. Their memory endures.
The globe was starkly divided. Blue representing NATO, red the Warsaw Pact.
Yes. Behind closed doors, the political maneuvering reached its peak. The Northern Front was deemed essential.
Gentlemen, the decision...
A core tenet of Cold War policy was the belief that communism spread like falling dominoes. The Vietnamese people have faced countless storms, both literal and figurative. Yet, this was the Ho Chi Minh Trail, the logistical artery keeping the fight alive. It faced the most intense bombing in history. Between 1961 and 1971, Operation Ranch Hand sprayed millions of gallons of Agent Orange. Chapter 51, Healing the Nation. Here, we witness the remarkable spirit of a people. 52 years later, the path to reconciliation was finally clear.
We are glad you are here.
Thank you, this means a great deal. The lessons drawn from this period are stark. We must recognize of military power. A generation lost, remembering the sacrifices.
From the shadows of the past, we found the courage to reconcile and rebuild. A new dawn breaks over the enduring legacy of conflict.
Like what you see? Subscribe now.
This is Stick Fight XX, where we break down the most iconic battles in the animated world.
Explore more historical battles on Stick Fight XX.
Thank you for watching.